Hi everyone, this is Chris. Welcome back to the tasting room. We are going to be tasting a Spanish delight today. This is Lot 832 from Ribera del Duero. So Ribera del Duero, the entirety of the region is within Castilla y León, and it follows the route of the Duero River, which is kind of a way of marking the territory of Castilla y León. It is also known as the Douro River in Portugal, which is also famous for its pork production along the way. And so you can see this river is incredibly important to viticulture in the region. Without this access to water, an otherwise warm region like this might have a very hard time ripening everything or providing enough nutrients to the soil and the grapes. In this case, Ribera del Duero is a home to many different grapes, but primarily Tempranillo is what's grown there. If you're thinking of Tempranillo, you're probably also thinking of Rioja. They are somewhat similar regions and they produce similar style wines. But in general, if you're tasting the two against each other, you would usually say the Ribera del Duero is a little bit heavier because it's a little warmer there, and that shows through with a little higher alcohol, a little more concentration on the grape. So let's go ahead and taste it and see what we can pull here. Let's see that color. Oh, that is excellent. This is a wine from 2018. We're drinking it in 2022 in December right now. So you can see that even though it is fairly dark, there's a little bit of development that's taken place. This always shows really well at the edges of the wine when you tilt it. You look through the center to see the concentration, and then you look at the outside to get an idea of how much development. And this is starting to get a little bit more garnet from its ruby core out towards the edges. So something to look for when you're opening this wine next. Now, on the nose, oh boy, there's a lot going on in there. So there's a lot of fruit immediately that feels kind of leaning into the cooked or stewed fruit example. Like we've got some cherries here. It feels a little bit like a dark cherry or blackberry pie that's been cooked a little bit in the oven. I'm also noticing one of the hallmarks that you get for a lot of Tempranillo wines, which is dill. Usually you see that in its interaction with oak barrels. And speaking of oak, I believe that this wine has got a little bit of baking spice on it, leading me to believe this spends some time in French oak. That's a little bit different. Tempranillo from Rioja is usually going to spend time in American oak, and that's a hallmark of it. But overall, you know, it's possible that people can jump outside the box, especially in a region like Ribera del Duero that doesn't have a lot of formal regulation. So let's taste it. I'll be honest with you. I had a really hard time spitting that out. It's a really great wine and it has a lot of depth to it. You want to hold on to it for a while, but I also want to tell you about it, so I can't just stand here with my mouth full. What I'm getting from this is a lot of tannin, a lot of structure. I can feel it across the top of my palate and starting to move towards the sides. So we've got a wine that can age even longer than its current age. I would say probably maybe 2 to 3 more years, but I would also say this is ready to drink now. The fruit is not aggressive. It's very smooth and it's very full-bodied. Again, like we've got some black cherry, we've got a little bit of blackberry, also a little bit of raspberry too. And I would say the dill stands out a little more presently on the palate than it does on the nose. So you might find that note when you finally taste it and not just smell it thinking I'm crazy when you don't totally get a big blast. Now, where does this belong in your cellar? I think this belongs anywhere, because if you want to drink this now, you absolutely can. If you want to hold on to it for another year, you absolutely could. And I think it would also get better in that time, leaning into a little bit more balsamic notes, maybe even developing the oak and the fruit a little further. But either way, I think this is a must-have. I think you should look for this on the website. And I can also tell you that high quality wines that come out of this region usually are going to cost you 3 times what you're going to see it for on our website. So go and have a look, think about getting yourself a case, and then think better of it and get 2. I will see you at the next glass.